Hi everyone, Terry here, and I am here to reply to option 2, review the section on conversion therapy by Dr. Satterley in the blue box on page 126. In what ways does conversion therapy violate your professional code of ethics? And in what ways might someone use the profession's code to justify conversion therapy for adults? Why is it important for us to understand why our code might be misused in this way? I don't even okay, let me be kind of professional. Um I am extremely passionate about this, and I have actually uh done trainings on conversion therapy and anti-conversion therapy. But when I was reading this, I was 100% just instantly triggered. And I think it's mostly because while I never experienced conversion therapy, I know a lot of people that are close to me and people that I'm friends with that have experienced it. I think that it's relatively prevalent in Idaho, where I'm located, and the damage is it's extreme what it does to people. So, um, anyways, so when I'm looking at conversion therapy and how it violates the professional code of ethics, I wrote down a few things that kind of stuck with me when I was going through the NASW code of ethics. And the things that stood out to me the most were, first of all, everything about it. Like, most of the sections of the code of ethics have and plainly and clearly state protections towards LGBTQ plus community, gender identity, sexual orientation, things like that. But the things that I saw specifically were in 1.05, which talks about cultural competence and the importance of being educated so that you can have so that your practice is informed when you're working with clients from the LGBTQ plus community. The second one that I saw was section 2.01, where it talked about respect. And in that section, it just talked about respecting everyone, but particularly because, like, one of the cornerstones of social work is to, yes, everyone deserves to be treated fair, but also extra emphasis on those marginalized communities, such as women, LGBTQ plus community, people that are in a position of poverty, people that are of color, um, people that are refugees, things like that. So respect everyone. That should be like common sense, but specific to social work, just making sure to respect and emphasize and lift up those that are within marginalized communities. The next section was 4.02 discrimination, and it made me think about, and in the actual code of ethics, it talks about not discriminating, once again, just like I said before, not discriminating against anyone, but particularly those marginalized and disenfranchised populations and communities. And then the last actual section within the code of ethics was 6.04 social and political action, and that kind of highlighted and talked about that it is a social worker's duty and responsibility to the larger, so macro level, to do their best and act accordingly to prevent exploitation, domination, and discrimination of those within the LGBTQ plus community. And more than just that, it extends beyond that, but that's specific to this prompt. And then last but not least, the one other piece that from the code of ethics that stood out to me was the value being dignity and worth of the person. And then ethical principle associated with that value is social workers respect the inherent dignity and worth of the person. So that's my answer in regards to reading this snippet in our book, and then how it violates. So everything I said, just think of it in opposite, because I just realized I explained why it was important, not how it violated. The second question was, how or in what ways might someone use your profession's code to try and justify conversion therapy in adults? So I mentioned, I think at the beginning, how passionate I am about this, but sorry, I have to pull up this thing that I should have ready. So I did a presentation in Oklahoma back in back in 2018, where I was presenting at the University of Oklahoma, and I was presenting to professional social workers, mental health professionals, psychologists, things like that. And I did a two-part breakout session, and I literally talked about conversion therapy. And when in our text on page 126, it was talking about the ex-gay ministry, and I went back and looked at the PowerPoint that I had created, and there are so many different ways that conversion therapy can be coined, or different terms that sound very misleading. Some of the ones that I listed were sexual orientation change efforts, sexual attraction fluidity, exploration and therapy, eliminating, reducing, and decreasing frequency or intensity of unwanted same-sex attraction, ex-gay ministry, reparative therapy, sexual reorientation efforts, promoting healthy sexuality. These sound some of them I feel are very, it's obvious that they are not, they sound sus. I'm whatever. But there are some that are very misleading. For example, promoting healthy sexuality. That is something that to anyone randomly, if they're just reading this, that could sound, I feel something similar to this class, which it's not. It's the complete opposite. So anyways, I'll get off my soapbox, but that's my response to that question. And then the final question is, why is it important for us to understand why our code might be misused in this way? I think that it's important because we have a duty as people that are working in the helping profession to stand up for and be mindful that the people and clients we're serving are already in a vulnerable position, probably 99.9% of the time. And so if we are imposing our own values, and if we are misusing and skewing the research and not actually working in favor of the client, that can cause damage. Studies show that people that have been through conversion therapy, not only does it not change their sexual orientation, but the amount of psychological damage it does to them can affect them for the rest of their lives. So yeah, I don't want to end it on a sad note, but that's pretty much all I've got. So thanks for watching and braving through the 9.5 minutes.